So, Resident Evil 3. Where to start with this game? I liked this game in some ways and did not like it in some others. I liked that the gameplay was good, all the missions and objectives were engaging, keeping the reputation of the brand name intact. Story was good and I really liked both the characters, Jill and Carlos. What I did not like was the one thing, and that it was not Resident Evil 2 enough. Yes, I missed some of the qualities or characteristics of Resident Evil 2. The horror element was really toned down, so the feel of overcoming the dread and fear was not as much, or mostly was not there. Even though I'm not a horror genre fan in games, but Resident Evil is the only one that I have played, and that game became special to me after completion just because it gave me a sense of accomplishment as if I've achieved something by overcoming my fear and nerves. That did not happen with Resident Evil 3. It also gives you enough ammunition to give it more of an action shooter vibe, and I guess that's what developers were going for. Story of Resident Evil 3 takes place just prior but around the same time as Resident Evil 2. Jill Valentine is in Raccoon City for some investigation against Umbrella Corporation, as they are the whole reason for all the hell breaking loose on Earth. The game begins, and soon she gets a call from a friend telling her that she needs to get out from her apartment ASAP, cause her life is in danger. Well, she didn't have to wait much as the death in all its deadly living dead form comes crashing through the wall cause the door is kind of boring. And from here, the story of Nemesis and Jill playing Tom and Jerry starts. Nemesis here is the updated and way more deadly version of Mr. X from Resident Evil 2. And yes, he's the thing that's chasing Jill. He runs, jumps, carries guns, also launchers, and also one or two more type of weapons. I mean, you name it. But still a bit cocky as he misses a lot of opportunities of killing Jill. What happens to Jill and Nemesis makes the entire game story, as Jill is constantly chased by the monster in every level and every stage, and she fights him multiple times. She gets support of Carlos, a mercenary of some sorts, and both try to survive and get out of Raccoon City. Gameplay wise, this game does what it was meant to do and does it smoothly. This game was designed to be more of an action heavy game than Resident Evil 2, and it does that. I started this game thinking it as survival horror, but was a bit surprised with the amount of ammunition the game was throwing my way. I was not getting out of ammo. Also, Jill and Carlos have more body movements. They are more nimble, quick. They can evade from an upcoming attack, and if evade is timed rightly, then you also get a quick slow-mo interval to land a gunshot. Also, the horror factor is subdued because of the fact that there are not that much dark corridors like in Resident Evil 2. I mean, there is one mission in Raccoon Police Station, but it's not that scary as in Resident Evil 2. And I mean, there it can spook you. Most of the time, it's an open area, so you can also run past the zombies. Zombies are also a bit more nimble at their feet. They're a bit quick than Resident Evil 2 version. So clearly, it's a more action-heavy installment. I have to say, even if I'm not a horror fan, I was kind of looking forward for some scares and spooks, as was in Resident Evil 2, but this one is not that. But if you are not a horror game fan, then this game is for you, because as an action horror, it's a great game. It has some horror moments and a good action mechanism, nice enemy designs, and good boss fights. So if you like a horror shooter, it may be your thing. One important thing that the game misses is the use of Nemesis as a stalker or the main villain in the game. In Resident Evil 2, Mr. X was used as a danger lurking nearby you and can come at you at any moment. There was no pre-announcement of him coming at you. He will just appear out of anywhere. In this game, Nemesis comes at scripted moments, so the fear of him appearing out of nowhere is not there, as he comes only at scripted moments and for boss fights. Maybe there was just one moment it took me by surprise, otherwise it's mostly scripted chase sequence. So Nemesis doesn't have that effect as Mr. X had in Resident Evil 2, and that's a big I think factor or difference between the both versions. I will say that it feels like this game was more like an expansion of RE2, but it got stretched a bit, so it was released separately because it is a short length game. I mean, not super short but short. Even the original game name was Resident Evil 3 Nemesis, which emphasizes the fact that it was a story of clash between Jill and Nemesis. If you are good, you can complete the game at around 4-5 hours on standard difficulty. All in all, I enjoyed the game. Yes, it is no perfect or legendary, but it has its moments, especially when you are able to beat Nemesis or bring him down for a moment and then escape from him. That feels really good. Some new enemy types were also interesting. Jill and Carlos have good chemistry, nicely acted. So, if you see this game as a separate game without comparing it with any other previous installments, then apart from its short length, there aren't many things really concerning about it. But yes, the point remains it's a Resident Evil game, so fans expect great spine chilling horror. And they have a point. I mean, they expect a survival horror game. Me personally like the game, but yes, could definitely have been better. For sure.